Okay, I think we're all set up. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Hi everybody. So it's Wednesday and last night we had an amazing meeting and unfortunately we weren't able to record it just because. And I really feel deep in my heart that it's important that I do short videos on some of the different topics. So the first portion of the gathering last night was a short introduction to Young Living. What are Young Living essential oils? How can you use them? Why are they different than the other oils that you find out there on the market today, whether that be online or in health food stores? So what is a therapeutic grade essential oil? And then we also talked about not only how you can use them, but also some cautions, like for example, if you're going to use with small children or if you're going to use on your animals. So Kristen Rossi was amazing. She actually did that portion. She's an amazing woman. She is a Spanish teacher up at Pine Bush Pine Bush High School in Pine Bush, New York. And she also is a holistic minister, which is just fabulous. She was introduced to the oils a few years ago, and she's really incorporated them into her life. It came at a time where she was struggling with some health concerns. So the oils, along with a whole bunch of other modalities, and of course, guidance and treatment through her primary physician, her medical doctor, all came together and allowed her to have a real integrative approach to her wellness, and she is doing absolutely fabulous. So she did this introduction. The second portion of the presentation last night was by a gentleman named Donald Foodie, who happens to be my husband, a powerhouse of a man. And I'm not just saying that because he's my husband. I'm saying that because he actually has such knowledge and such desire to gain as much wisdom as possible to not only protect himself, his physical body, his mental, spiritual self, but also to share that information with other people who are like-minded. And basically, he's an individual who is a proponent of having your eyes open. So you see here on the screen that we are sharing slides. I should be up in the corner of this video. So these are actually some of the slides from last night's presentation. And this was the portion that he spoke about. So obviously we have Ali and Fraser there going at it. And no, this is not about, the great boxers that they once were, but this is actually an indicator or a visual for these two gentlemen understanding that when they were going into that ring, they were in for a fight. And he talks about awareness here. This is where Donald was speaking about awareness of what it is that is presenting a danger to you, so that you can go in with your eyes wide open and conscious of what you're in for. So the next slide that he has on there is this gentleman here. And as you can see, although it's a cartoon figure, it gets the point across. He's unaware of the danger that is lurking. He's unaware of what he's up against. And in a short moment, obviously, he is going to find out very quickly what he's in store for. And so this puts him at a weakness because he's unprepared. And so my husband was speaking about this in regards to our health. So we actually had gone to convention, as most of you know, and first time ever going to convention, it was amazing. It was absolutely one of the most educational and inspiring events that I've ever taken place or been a part of. It was like a 3-4 day gathering, and I'm just Young Living. Thank you. Hats off to you. You did an amazing job. So what can we do? What can we do to actually start becoming more aware of what it is that is presenting dangers to us? And one of the things is that outside of our home, we can't really control a lot of what's happening. Control is basically an illusion. But the truth is that when you're aware, when you have an awareness of what's happening around you and within you, you're now empowered. You now have the option to choose, to make choices that are either going to help to support you or may actually hinder or possibly hurt you. So the first thing that you can do is start within your home. So we had gone to a seminar that was led by a Dr. Tom Reed. He's a Harvard graduate, a double board certified doctor, and he was speaking about epigenetics. So epigenetics is the study of how environmental factors can actually contribute to gene expression. So just to give you a quick overview of it, it is a study about how things like toxins in our environment, and it can also be like emotional toxins, things like that, can contribute to certain genes that you have within your body. So we used the example last night of many people have a family history of certain illnesses or issues. And although they have a family history of it, and that is in their DNA, it's in their gene, that does not necessarily mean that that gene is going to be activated. However, if you expose yourself to certain factors, you now have the potential for that gene to be activated or express itself in a way that would result in, like, for example, some people have autoimmune issues in their family. Some people have issues with, asthma, just all sorts of different things. People will say arthritis. Now, recognize when we're talking about Young Living, we're never diagnosing or prescribing treatment. That is not the situation here. What we're talking about are just ways to support wellness in your body. It is no different than good nutrition. It is no different than exercise. It is no different than getting enough rest. So these are all factors, all of those things I just listed, that can actually help to protect you from certain genes being expressed. So certain genes you actually don't want to have activated. So when we're talking about the oils, we're talking about how certain oils really help to support different body systems. So if you know that there's a family history of perhaps joint issues, you really want to work with certain oils or supplements, foods that all help to support healthy joints, healthy musculoskeletal system. So that's epigenetics. So here's a quick little description there. It's just a visual of what we just talked about. So epigenetics tells us how certain lifestyle factors like diet, stress, exercise can change the way that our genes are, quote unquote, expressed. These changes can put you at risk, at health risk, for different types of dis-ease in the body or other types of health issues that you may have. And also it can affect your emotional and mental well-being, because please recognize that we are all whole beings. And what I love is that we have a lot of physicians, licensed physicians, who are acknowledging a more integrative approach to treating their patients. So not only do they work with pharmaceuticals, but they'll also suggest dietary changes, a different nutrition pattern for that person. In addition to that, they'll ask them, are you exercising? Are you getting enough sleep? And they'll make those suggestions, because they're also interested in things like, well, what's your home life like? How's your relationships? And this is so powerful, because I think that what's happening is people are realizing that just addressing one portion of it doesn't really work, does it? It doesn't work. There are so many people who are doing all of these things, and they say, well, I'm trying to do everything right. I'm exercising. But guess what? Maybe they're not eating well. Maybe they're not getting enough sleep. Maybe they're mineral deficient. So there's all these different things to take into consideration. What is their home environment like? And so when we're talking about epigenetics, if you look there on the screen, you'll see that's a DNA strand there. And you see the epigenetic factors actually attach on. They almost create like tags. And they can cause a methylation process that can affect how your body actually functions. So when we were at the seminar, the doctor was speaking about different types of issues that are presenting. And he spoke about the MTHFR factor, which I actually happen to also have a mutation. And it's becoming very common. And so what they are explaining is that as we go through generation to generation, what we ourselves are doing now can affect our children and our children's children, because it actually travels through the DNA. So even if you are doing things to help support your body, support your body systems, that actually will benefit your children and your children's children. And they actually believe, as of right now, it goes up to 3 generations. So I know in my family, I am the 3rd generation of autoimmune issues. And so I recognize that that was something that potentially was handed down from my grandmother. It was in her DNA. It was a part of her gene expression. What was she exposed to as she was growing up? What was she exposed to as an adult when she had my mother? And then for my mother, so on and so on. So what are some things that you want to consider when we're talking about epigenetics? Well, there's a huge list there. Different types of metals that you're being exposed to, pesticides, radiation, solvents, what's in your food, are you overweight, are you obese, are you stressed, do you have issues fighting off viruses, meaning do you have immune issues? So those are all different things to consider. Here's a little visual. I know I'm kind of cutting out the top corner there, but you'll see at the feet there says mom, that's mom. And it says my genome is being methylated, which means that she's having some type of epigenetic factor that is attaching to her DNA and causing a methylation process to occur. The daughter now carries that in her DNA and she's feeling anxious. And you'll see there, it says now my genes are being methylated. So there's an expression happening there, and that's concerning. And then you have the granddaughter, and it's where does it end? Well, I'm the granddaughter, and I'll tell you that my feeling is it needs to end right here. It needs to end right here. We don't want this to continue. We want to actually start supporting ourselves so that our children and our children's children can have the best opportunity to have healthy lives. And that's really important to me. So what chemicals are a threat? We can't necessarily control what we're exposed to outside, you know, what we're breathing in the air, things that we come in contact with. People don't think about it, but, you know, from the paint on your walls to the rugs on the floor, the cleaners that you use, there's certain things that you actually don't have control over. Those are all toxic substances to our body because they're synthetic. So our body actually has to process out those toxins. And normally we do a decent job, but if you add in stress, if you add in a lack of rest, poor diet, no exercise, now you're talking about some serious health issues that can present themselves. So keeping in mind that there are a lot of chemicals out there, we breathe them in, we absorb them through our skin, and we also are ingesting them. So out of the 80,000 chemicals that are presently on the market in the United States, registered in the United States, less than 500 of them have actually been tested by the EPA. So one of the concerns that I have with this is not only are they not testing everything that we have out on the market, but in addition to that, because of the Toxic Substance Control Act, companies are not necessarily required to list all of their ingredients. They have to list the main components, but not all of their ingredients. So there's a lot of things that are in products that we're using that we're not even aware of. So once again, skin contact, inhalation, and also through ingestion. That's very concerning. And in addition to that, when we're talking about small children, and I never thought about this, I had a gentleman who, he has a tree service. And he was telling me, you know, he had gone and cut down a couple of trees. And I told him, oh, you know, it breaks my heart when I hear about, and let me watch my words there, it saddens me when I hear about, you know, trees being cut down. And he says, well, you want to cut down the older trees because the younger ones need space to grow. And in addition to that, the younger ones will actually absorb more carbon dioxide. They actually clean more of the air than the older ones because they're in active growth. I thought, oh, I never thought of that. Well, lo and behold, as I'm getting more and more educated, it's the same thing with children. So children actually will absorb many more toxins simply because of, you know, they put everything in their mouth. You know, it's just, hygiene is not a concern for small children. In addition to that, because they are younger, they're less able to expel out certain toxins from their system. So a lot of the things that we're using in our home, we actually don't even realize may be harmful for our children. So at this point, last night, I shared a story about my wonderful stepson. And he was diagnosed with leukemia when he was 12 years old. And he faced a battle for about 4 or 5 years. He had chemotherapy, he had radiation, brain radiation, although not for a long period of time. He did receive some of it. And now as an adult, he is going to be 28 years old. He spoke about, and he shared this, he spoke about how he had to beat the cancer, which, he went into remission. He's been 10 years clean. But then he now had to go through a healing process to remove those toxins that were used to beat the cancer. And that has been a real journey for him, because they did tell him after the chemo and everything that there were certain health issues that could present themselves as he got older. And they said, there's no guarantee when it will happen, but it's very common that you will have these other issues down the road. Lo and behold, that is what has happened. So a few years back, he decided that he needed to start healing his body. And he did so by cleaning what he was eating. He became vegan, so it was only whole foods. So he started cleaning out that part of his system. And then about a year and a half or so ago, he started working with Young Living Oils to help support his body systems. And he said some of those issues that he's had, which I'm not going to list right here, but some of those issues that he's had have now resolved themselves. He's no longer suffering from the symptoms of them. So he's been on a wonderful journey of acknowledging that not only, did he have to go through and follow through with treatment to make sure that he survived that illness of cancer, which he did survive, which is wonderful. But now it's also, how do I start to clean out the medications that were used, because they're still in his system after all of these years and they can present issues. So they serve their purpose, but now how do I start to remove those toxins? Because not only did he have that from 10 years ago in his system, he also has what he's being exposed to now in his daily life. So these are things to keep in mind. All right, so what do we do? Well, let's get ready and let's fight. So how do we fight back? How do we do this? It's all about starting in your body, in your home. That's the place to start. So one of the things that I did a few years ago, actually it was probably about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I became aware of a lot of the substances, the cleaners and things like that I use in my home that are actually really harmful and that can affect your, it ranges. There's a whole myriad of just health issues that can present. And there's warnings. If you look up the ingredients on them, you'll see that there are warnings about what they can do and how they can create issues within your body. So I started to replace out some of those products, and it's been amazing. So here are the things that you want to look for, and some of it is blocked off there, but products that contain formaldehyde, sulfates, mercury or lead, parabens, it just goes on, fluoride, petroleum distillates, those are all things that you really want to try to eliminate from your home if possible. And then you want to go ahead and look for products that are free from. So you will see here, Thieves product line is free from parabens, sodium sulfate, triclosan, phthalates, phosphate, dyes, synthetic ingredients, fluoride, preservatives, perfumes, and formaldehydes. So remember that I said those companies, not all of them are required to list all of the ingredients within their products. However, if you look for products that actually list what they are free from, then you know. So I'm a big advocate of using Thieves cleaning products. I use the Thieves oil also. It's an amazing blend. So Thieves has rosemary, eucalyptus, cinnamon, and clove in it. I absolutely love it. It helps to support my immune system. So I started using the Thieves household cleaner. I started using the dish detergent. I also use the dental floss and the toothpaste, and I use the spray. I'm trying to think of all the different things that I use. I basically use all of their products. I love it. The hand sanitizer is really good stuff. So as you can see here, the mouthwash, the toothpaste, the Thieves cleaner covers basically everything that you need. It's a great bathroom cleaner, glass and window cleaner. You can use it for stain removals. You can use it for your countertops, your toilet, your oven. You can use it even as a carpet cleaner. You can also make your own blends with it to use it as a detergent, a laundry detergent. Now, I tell people all the time, If you want to make the products, you can definitely make them. You take the cleaner, you can make all these different things. I'm a little bit limited on time, so I actually do purchase. I purchase a lot of the products. However, I actually make my own toothpaste, and I love that. I make my own face cream, and I just use the oils. And I'll tell you, it has done an amazing thing for not only supporting my body, but it actually takes care of my skin, my hair. I mean, my skin and my hair are healthier than they ever have been, and I do believe that that's a reflection of the changes that are going on within me. So here are some of the products, okay? Cleaners, mouthwash, like I said, hand sanitizer, toothpaste. By the way, that toothpaste, Aroma Bright toothpaste, this is going to be a little silly. A lot of people laugh at me when I say this, but I love it as a deodorant. I take like a pea-sized amount and I use it because I really try to find natural deodorants. And unfortunately, some of the natural ones just don't last as long as I'd like them to. So that toothpaste really works phenomenal. So if I know that I'm going to have a nonstop day, I'm going to be going, and I need a little bit of an extra support as far as deodorant, I will use that toothpaste. It works fabulously. So that's your option, and I want to let you all know about that. That's going to be the portion of this video. I'm going to break it up so that you have information on the other topics that we talked about at the event last night. But one of the things, just remember, keep it in mind. You want to start in your home. You have the ability to choose what you expose yourself to within your home. So if you can minimize the exposure to chemicals and toxins, that will only serve you in a good way. It'll serve you in a good way, and your family in a good way, and your pets in a good way. So just know that if you have any questions whatsoever, you can either contact me or you can contact the person who shared this video with you. So it's really important that you become empowered, know the options that are available to you so that you can make the best choice available for you and for your family. So God bless you all. I hope you have a great day. Be well. And I've been thinking too much.